What's up, everybody? Welcome into another episode of Bulls Latest. Your host, Matt Johnson here. I want to kick off this Friday show talking about Modest and how he can avoid the dreaded sophomore slump in the NBA. Modest has the perfect roadmap for avoiding this sophomore slump. And I think when you look at him last season, Buzelis showed great promise as a well-rounded wing capable of about anything on the court, both offensively and defensively. He flashed signs of playing various roles in whatever capacity the team needed. I think this flexibility is exactly what Billy Donovan is looking for in his young superstar. This already makes him harder for other teams to scout as well, and he's still growing his game. So he's still in an area in his career where he's so young that his game is still evolving, and that makes him a juggernaut for opposing coaches to game plan for, quite honestly. An emphasis on Modest Media Day press conference was defense. If you look back at his interview on Media Day, he emphasized the defensive side of his game many times. The Bulls as a whole are very focused on improving their defense. I've talked about this week in recent episodes. They're also looking to up their physicality after the team generally looked, or they lacked in that department this past season, especially in the playing game against the Miami Heat. I mean, they got pushed around. It was not pretty. And I know a lot of Bulls fans that left a sour taste in their mouths going on such a hot run to end the year and then getting beat up at home in the play-in tournament against Miami. Just a tough way to end the year. For Modest, he wants his defense to be a major talking point this season and even generate some buzz for an all-defensive spot there. Despite his age, still just 20 years old, Modest is already showing great maturity with his defensive accountability. This is not always something you get from young players, and I think that is definitely a plus when you look at a guy you're looking to mold the franchise around really in future years here. I think Modest Buzelis is going to try and be, and a lot of Bulls fans are hoping, and Billy Donovan honestly is hoping, that Modest Buzelis is the face of this team for years to come, and just showing that accountability for a defensive first mindset is awesome, I think, and a great sign for things to come there. Kind of spinning off that, looking at the Bulls' defensive edge and their focus on it. Interior defense was the Bulls' Achilles heel last year. There was no hiding that. They ranked 30th in points allowed in the paint and 23rd in opponent field goal percentage within 6 feet, and just 18th in the league in blocks. When you look at those statistics, they are glaring. They're not great when you look at the metrics from last year. Most glaring of them all, though, they lacked a true interior deterrent. I think Chicago's lack of perimeter stoppers and really an absence of intimidating shot blockers fueled this porous interior defensive numbers. I think those numbers really plummeted because of that factor and not having a guy who really is an interior deterrent, and also stopping that, the perimeter shots from going up in droves there. Having done little to fix last season's interior woes, the Bulls are trying to kind of create a new approach in training camp with added physicality from, an offseason addition like a guy like Isaac Okoro. You can do that. And I think something that they're looking to really emphasize here, and I've heard this in multiple interviews, and just as we get through training camp here a few days in, they're talking about focusing on drawing more charges. That's definitely something just 3 days into camp, head coach Billy Donovan has emphasized multiple times, and he said the Bulls have already drawn more charges in scrimmages than they did all of last season. That's an encouraging sign. I think that's a big part of their game. It's going to be a big part of their game, is getting back on defense and really switching the game. And you can really do that by focusing on getting back in transition and taking charges there. I just think when you're the Bulls, you look at they definitely have bolstered their perimeter defense by adding a Coro and then obviously drafting rookie Noah Asenge, but there's still work to be done here. Improvement starts with emphasizing activity and physicality. Two defensive pillars, honestly. And when you look at this Bulls team, they may not be the most talented when it comes to the defensive side of the ball, but if you emphasize just staying active on that side of the floor and being physical, those are two things that you can really push yourself into the next level on that side of the floor and keep yourself in a lot more games. I think it's definitely an exciting thing that the Bulls are taking this approach so early on in camp, given how wide open the Eastern Conference is this year. You up your game on that side of the floor, who knows where you can take this team. I just think overall, when you look at this element of their game, drawing charges, getting deflections, and recovering loose balls, all those need to increase from last season's levels, and I think that is definitely at the front of the emphasis as we start camp here, and I think that's a good sign. So we'll keep an eye on that, and then I'll roll out any more news I get from training camp here as we move along. But kind of switching back to Kobe White, I just think when you look at him, as a whole, he's a guy who has all the potential in the world, and he's shown that, and he had an awesome year last year, really a career year. I think if you're Kobe White, you want to be focused on improving as an off-the-ball player, and he is kind of coming into his own in terms of knowing that and wanting to improve that part of his game, as evidenced by Media Day, where he said his biggest focus for the offseason was improving as an off-the-ball player. That includes improving, at moving without the ball to get open and occupy defensive attention. I think that's an important element here, as well as hitting threes off the catch at a higher clip. Now that Kobe has a legitimate plus playmaker at the point guard position, he must learn to operate without the ball in his hands. I think that is a major thing that he needs to really hone in on to become the next level player that the Bulls want him to be moving into this season. The Bulls are at their best when Josh Giddey is running the show and really has a variety of options to score for himself or find an open teammate. I've emphasized this a ton in my show really since May. I'm assuming that Giddey got his deal, which he did, which is great news. I think the Bulls can now finally focus on getting those two guys playing well together. I think that could be a real solid 1-2 punch for this team moving into this season. White's recognition of this truth, though, shows his maturity going into his 7th NBA season as the longest tenure Bull. I think that's the other element to this, is that him showing the awareness to want to work on that part of his game, and really that could elevate the Bulls as a whole, is awesome. He's already an excellent shooter off the dribble. I think adding more movement off the ball will make him a more complete player, and him seeing that is huge, and I think Billy Donovan sees that as well. So a very intriguing thing there. I'm very excited to see how Kobe White implements that into his game. I know a lot of Bulls fans want to see that as well. I think this guy, the sky is the limit for this guy. Really, there's a lot of young talent on this team. I think in Modest Buzelis, Josh Giddey, and Kobe White in specific, those three guys, it is going to be so fun to watch those three guys. And then you add in a young buck like Noah Senge. I think he's more of a developmental piece, especially towards the beginning here, but he's going to add some excitement as well. There's a lot of intrigue with this Bulls roster. So, just kind of wrapping up today's show, I wanted to look ahead with you guys just to keep you in the know on the Bulls preseason kicking off Tuesday, 10-7. They will play at Cleveland, and then they have the home and home. So you got Cleveland on 10-7 on Tuesday. Thursday, they will host the Cleveland Cavaliers at the United Center in the home opener in the preseason on Thursday, 10-9. And then to cap off next week, you have a showdown against the Milwaukee Bucks here in Chicago, Sunday, 10-12. So we got 3 preseason games to look ahead to this next week. I will preview them all for you guys and give you a prediction on what to expect myself. I'm looking forward to finally getting to cover basketball and real gameplay with you guys. It's been a long off season. It's finally here. I can't wait to see some of these young guys get their shot in the preseason and really, get fueled up for the regular season that is so close. So 3 games next week. Excited to recap all those for you guys. I'll preview them as well. Anyway, I want to thank you guys for joining me today on another episode of Bulls Latest. Hit that like and subscribe button. It goes a long way for the channel. You guys have been awesome. And thanks again, guys. We will see you guys next week.